Welcome back to our Ghana campaign here. We're playing Crusader Kings 3. Last episode, our great warrior king, Kea, passed away. So we have some new characters here. On the left we have Bamari, the son of Kea, and on the right, his son, Fadazu, who will also eventually become king. But these guys definitely aren't the map painters that Kea was, so I think I'm gonna try out a different format here and make use of my Fullscreen Barbershop mod. So it's gonna be more cinematic, I guess, and hopefully it works out and you guys enjoy. So yeah, this is the story of Bamari and Fadazu. So first up is Bamari. This is him on his coronation day. You can see that he's looking pretty nervous, glancing around there, eyes darting around. Yeah, I think that kind of sums up how he reigned as king. He was a very nervous, stressed out man. I'm really kind of still wondering why, because he was educated to be a diplomat. He had a great education trait, and he was our chancellor throughout Kea's reign. So it's not really like he was a stranger to court or anything, but he just didn't handle it very well. I kind of think maybe he had an easy job serving under his dad because his dad was a pretty great man. Like, he was this great warrior conqueror. So he kind of like spoke for himself, I guess. And Bamari didn't have to work very hard, but now as king, like, he's the guy. So he has to be the one generating his own hype there, and he wasn't very good at that. So you can see Bamari there when he's quite a bit older. Things aren't necessarily better for him. He's still pretty worn out by being the king there. But lucky for him, he had two adult sons who were very capable and to whom he was able to shift a lot of his responsibilities. So on the left there is Fadazu, Bamari's heir, who we met earlier in the episode. And in game, he had the administrator trait. So I kind of think of him as like a really good manager. He sat on our council as steward, but really he kind of occupied the hand of the king role. And he met with vassals and, took petitions from the town folk. And he was really the guy that you went to if you needed anything, because Bamari wasn't gonna be the guy to handle that. So yeah, Fadazu was very like outward facing. A lot of people knew him and met him, and he was really well liked. He had a lot of like honorable traits and was very sort of calm and collected kind of guy. So he was a very popular heir, which I think kind of made up for nobody really liking Bamari. And then on the right there we have Bunama, Bamari's younger son. And he was pretty much the classic Tunkara character, a character that we've played before several times now, but he was a zealous warrior. And of course, at this point in time, war is a really important part of our culture and our religion. We pretty much codified it into all areas, and it's effectively our foreign policy at this point. So in game, we actually get an opinion malice if we're not at war as well. So Bamari by himself was not going to be leading armies or going to war, but he kind of let Bunama handle that. Bunama served as our marshal and led our armies. We gave him his own seat, and he conquered a bunch of land for himself. So, anybody that wanted to go to war or, was very zealous, they could join up with Bunama and his army and sort of deal with their aggression that way instead of making trouble for Bamari. So yeah, together the two brothers quite effectively handled internal and foreign policy there for the kingdom, and Bamari didn't really have to do much, just kind of sulked in his castle, dealing with his stress breaks there. But normally I would think that would spell disaster, because usually the AI is very good at sniffing out any kind of weakness. Your neighbors will invade, your vassals will rebel. But yeah, despite having a very weak king, we had a very peaceful reign. I think largely due to the efforts of Fadazu and Bunama there on behalf of their dad. But this is Crusader Kings, so we can't always expect the peace to last forever there. In our case, it was shattered here when a huge bombshell broke. It was revealed to Bamari that his son and heir, Fadazu, was engaged in a secret relationship with his own sister. His own sister. So clearly, Fadazu's buttoned up nature there was hiding a darker secret. And Bamari, for his part, he'd been a very passive king, but not here. He was very upset by this. This was a disgusting act for all the sports fans, a disgusting act that he absolutely did not support in any way. So he confronted Fadazu and said, if these accusations are true, I will absolutely disinherit you and place your brother, Bunama, on the throne. But Fadazu, he's a smart guy. He's been hand of the king, essentially the realm's customer service representative for quite some time now. So he's pretty used to dealing with angry people. He doesn't have to get upset about this, and he's playing the long game as well. If he admits to this, he'll, completely lose his position in society. But if he goes along with his father, then he'll become, king soon. His father is already elderly, so might as well just go along with it, keep the old man calm, and when Fadazu is king, he can do whatever he wants. And that is exactly what ended up happening. Fadazi was able to smooth over things with his father. They reconciled, and Fadazu inherited Ghana when Bamari passed away. And so here he is on his coronation day there. He's pretty happy. He's just talking to his sister already. And, he's telling her, like, hey, I'm king now. Like, we don't have to hide anymore. House of the Dragon is coming out soon. We're gonna be in vogue now. We're gonna be just a couple of Targaryens here, and you should join me and sit on the throne with me. But you can see from her expression there that she's not so sure that this is a good idea. She's not as on board with this as he is, and they got into a bit of an argument there. And I think Fadazi was just shocked because he really thought that she felt the same way as he did, and she ended up just getting very upset and deciding to leave court. And so Fadazu just had a complete mental breakdown here over his sister leaving. It really seemed like the put together guy that we knew earlier was maybe just a front for someone with a lot of inner turmoil. Because, yeah, he just spiraled straight down. He really became obsessed with religion and sort of occult kind of things, desperately trying to pray and sacrifice his way perhaps to getting his sister back. But of course that didn't work, and he fell into self-loathing, eventually taking up flagellation as a way to scourge himself of this lust that had ruined his life there. And eventually that ended his life. So that has placed our first child king on the throne of Ghana, Bamari II, son of Fadazu and grandson of Bamari I from earlier in this episode. But yeah, our family has definitely taken a very strange turn, I feel, in the last several characters. I kind of feel like it started with Bayou, who was this sort of like mystical leper, who of course reformed the faith. And he had a son, Barate. He was ugly, like people called him ugly. Which I don't know, maybe that's something to do with genetics going haywire there, but then Barate's son, Kea, from last episode, he was, of course, a great warrior, but also a deviant. And this same sort of unnaturalness seems to have permeated our dynasty through to his grandson, Fadazu, there, who went mad over his love for his own sister. Yeah, so now we have Bamari, and I'm curious to see, how he turns out. We talked about Targaryens earlier. I don't know, perhaps it will be a coin flip over whether he turns out to be a good ruler or one taken over by this madness in our family. I don't really have super high hopes. You can see how he's positioned himself there. He's looking quite mischievous, so I'm not really sure, yeah, what we can expect from a young man placed into such a high position of power there, especially one lacking in family to guide him. Of course, his father's passed away and doesn't really have any siblings. His uncle Bunama, I guess, is sort of our closest family relation there, but not a lot of guidance for young Bamari. So he really will have to do things on his own there. But yeah, we'll pick up Bamari's story next episode. Hopefully you guys like this one. I know it was a little bit of a different format, but I thought it worked really well for these guys' story. Definitely not so much about the map, but more of an interpersonal story this time. So I think I'll make use of that in the future, depending on, what kind of kings we have going forward. But yeah, definitely like and subscribe to let me know you enjoyed this episode and to stay connected for the next one.